What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's up?
In case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our iTunes and YouTube channels. If you want to support the show, you can do that as well by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And in return, we will give you a cool perk, like getting the episode early before its general Tuesday release. So close.
That's the finish line. You tripped it like a pebble.
Oh, man.
Celebrating
got overconfident.
the 5 yard
in
line.
my head. Got overconfident.
You get tackled.
But for as little as $1 a month, we can give you an episode early before its general Tuesday release and access to our private Team Chat Podcast Discord server. Now, before we get any further on, we do have a song contest winner from a couple weeks ago. My hint was discover the beginnings of an ancient order. It was correctly guessed by, I'm wondering if I could say his name. I might just say Nick, but that's not.
That sounds made up.
I said his name. So the first time he correctly guessed this, I said his name, and he messaged me later. He's like, "Hey, good on you for the pronunciation."
Oh, you did
now
it right.
I'm scared to say it, but I'm gonna give it another go. Nicholas Boivin.
You probably said it so wrong now.
Boivin, I think.
I don't
Apologize if I butchered it. I probably now completely ruined it. He's gonna unfriend me now, jump off the Discord. You know, I tried. I'm sorry.
They're gonna get the pitchforks. No, not the pitchforks.
Not the pitchforks. We don't need the pitchforks. Just send us tacos emojis.
Tacos.
And you can do all that fun stuff over on the Discord, patreon.com/teamchatpodcast.
$1 a month, people.
Boom, boom. Okay, so before we get into the topic, I have a couple Team Chat Podcast announcements that we need to make. First off, this is episode 98. So we're going to have one more episode. Then we're going to hit 99, and then we're going to take our holiday break. So we'll take off for, I think, a couple weeks.
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
A reasonable amount
A reasonable
of vacation
amount for
time.
us to refresh, recharge, and be ready to come back.
Not like those Europeans
Multiple
with their
weeks.
1 full month of vacation time.
What is that about?
I know, right?
Oh, easy right there is what that is. But what we are going to do then is come back. And so we'll be starting the new year fresh with episode 100, and we're going to do something fun with that. Right now, we have it scheduled for January 4th, but we are going to do episode 100 live. So we're going to be putting it out. We'll either do it probably through YouTube, I would imagine, either YouTube or maybe Facebook Live, whichever one decide to do. But yeah, so we'll be doing it live, and the hope is we're still planning out what all that's going to look like, but the hope is that we will be able to get some nice, we'll be able to call in or have people write in, message us in chat and stuff like that. Possibly call in too, do video calls, something like that.
I just waiting.
With what? A telephone? I've never even.
Yeah, just pick it up and give us a call.
Talk to my own mama on the telephone.
If no one calls in, then we'll just sit there with crickets waiting.
Yeah, no, that's how I see the show. Just
So what you guys been doing today?
noises.
Somebody. Oh no, they left already. But anyway, so we're going to be doing episode 100 live. So go ahead and put that on your calendars. We'll be promoting it January 4th, 2018, episode 100 of Team Chat Podcast. So it's going to be big. It's going to be good. See you there.
swag.
Boom.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Just like every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to feel any different.
It's not really, except for the fact that people are going to be able to interact with us.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
what's
as
going
you
to be the
just
big
heard,
new thing.
we didn't even know there were announcements. This is the
We
first
should
time Zach and
if
I are
there's-
hearing of this.
like
So I'm
I
just
told
kidding.
you
No,
that
I'm just kidding.
when it will be.
just
I
JK.
didn't
we need
tell
a
you
chat
that.
box.
Yeah, see,
So we can all like to kill yourselves, so we can respond to that.
and be like, not today, not today,
Not today. Nope. No.
not that question. That one's dumb. Next, no,
I don't know. That's all I ever see on chat box.
but it's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a fun.
All things considered.
All right, so the main topic of today was sitting here at the almost conclusion to 2017. We wanted to go over the year in review.
It's been a big review.
That's
You
nice.
did
I
the
like
wrong
that.
noise.
I did.
We
I
were
always
on
go to the
same
soundboard.
We were on the same page.
You
I
were.
was. You're, it's whatever. We're going to move past it. But so we're going to. You're just a resident sample.
Yeah, I know. I see this. I know. We don't need one. Yeah,
No.
I'll
We're
do
just-
it.
Yeah, just go
Draw
with it.
you a piece
Yeah.
of paper and we'll
We
label a
should
bunch
have
of
a
fake
soundboard.
buttons.
Fake
You
soundboard.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We'll get you a disconnected keyboard and you can
Yeah.
just wail on it.
But so what we wanted to do is basically just, go over the last year in gaming. Because a lot of stuff has come up. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to say this right now so we can just get it out of the way. Microtransactions bad. They suck. EA sucks for what they did to Star Wars. Okay, good. We're done. We don't have to talk about that.
Thank you for doing that, actually.
Nice.
Yeah,
Man, that's all we need to talk about. We've butchered that topic to death. So we don't necessarily need to touch on that. But that was standing. I feel like 2017 was one of the best years in gaming.
Whoa.
For a while.
I'm not going to say I kind of agree.
Whoa.
Like, I would at least say it's one of the best
2017.
years I've had.
What?
Out of the water.
Wait, what?
You think 2016 was better?
Yes, for me.
What came out in
was so-
2016?
yeah,
Metal Gear Solid
Okay.
5, Fallout 4, and Halo 5. I think.
good.
No,
5
maybe
was the year
no.
before.
That's right. 20. Okay.
Yeah,
Metal Gear
but-
Solid 5 and Fallout 4.
Okay.
Which were fantastic games. and I
Well,
loved
we're
them.
not talking about them now
like,
because
no.
it's 2017.
It's 2017. It's new year, new you.
I don't have many games that I love that came out,
Well, I get that.
but I also don't have a PlayStation.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
So here's the
point for PlayStation.
we're seeing a theory arise here.
I think though there's like, to be fair, there's like 10
2017 was
points
a great
of the
year
same
for
point
PlayStation.
for PlayStation on the board. They're all like, every time we mention that Xbox doesn't have exclusives, we're like, hoo point for
Yeah,
PlayStation.
I'm
pretty sure we've done
done
that like 10
defending
times.
Xbox after this year.
I mean, it's,
I didn't have a lot of fun games to play.
I don't think they came out with anything that I can even name that was an Xbox exclusive.
Okay,
that
well,
was
we
worth
have to give this not
was that
Andromeda.
2016?
That was this year, but no, that one doesn't count because it was for PS4 and Xbox. Now we do have to say we should change this to Microsoft exclusivity because now they have the Play Anywhere where all their if you buy an Xbox One game, you can play it on Windows 10.
Oh,
So
okay.
technically, even though it might be
does that?
PC,
Bizarre. Yeah, who does that?
it makes sense. I heard that and I was like,
so.
okay, that's cool. So, but you could say, so far they have Cuphead.
Yeah, actually, that's
Was
the one that I was about to
exclusive?
correct
Okay.
myself
And
on.
then-
Cuphead was a slam dunk.
For now, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds it's coming out for Xbox December 12th. And so
Is
for now,
PUBG
it's going to be
only Microsoft.
for now.
Okay.
You can play it on PC and you can play it on.
Well,
on
what about-
you'll be able to play it on Xbox One starting December 12th.
Does PlayStation have Fortnite?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Which did I tell you that I got Fortnite
I got
Battle
2,
Royale?
and I'm already a level like 22.
Really?
I've played that game a lot.
Really?
I have to stop
Yes.
myself.
Wow.
It's
It's
fun.
really fun.
It's
I
really
got my
fun.
first the other day.
Oh, you did?
I finally got first.
I think the highest I've gotten was
88.
no.
Burn!
No, but you know how many rounds start that you get killed like 96?
No,
Like,
usually I'm like, well, usually that's not true. Usually I'm like top 30, which is not a great achievement.
Yeah,
in
I'm
of
like-
itself.
I think I
but
got-
like, yes, I've died at like 90 at 1, 90,
Oh, yeah.
88 and shit.
it happens a lot.
Yeah, you just don't get a
I got to,
gun.
I think 21.
21's
is the
pretty good.
highest I made it.
21's pretty good.
One time. But no, that game is a lot of fun.
That's one game I can definitely talk about.
And so, the one thing is like PUBG, I've definitely wanted to play a lot. And so I'm waiting for it to come to Xbox so
Well-
I can. But like Fortnite's scratching that itch for me right now.
Well, here's the interesting thing about that. I don't know much. I know a little bit about PUBG. Is that how you say PUBG?
PUBG.
yeah,
That's
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
That's what the
I've
young
watched-
people say.
yeah, PUBG, and I've watched videos on it, and I've also played a lot of Fortnite. And so, playing Fortnite up into a point, like maybe the first 5 or 6 games, I was like, "Oh, this is fun," but it's obviously a lesser PUBG. And I kept like repeating that in my head. And then I actually did some research online, and most people, from what I've seen, consider Fortnite a better version.
Maybe that's why
PUBG.
PUBG got so butthurt when Fortnite Battle Royale came
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
out.
most
They tried to sue Epic Games, being like, "No, you
Yeah.
can't do this."
Right. But most of the community that I see for Fortnite is like, this is a better version of PUBG.
And what do they use to back that up? Like, what makes them think that claim? I have not played neither
From what-
game. I am a blank slate.
Most of the stuff I hear is technical, like the way the guns handle and the way is just smoother in Fortnite. The map is smaller and it makes for much more interesting games. Considering PUBG's map is like humongous and you need like cars to
Is it
traverse it.
Kirby
Yeah.
Air Ride size though?
I don't know. I mean, PUBG looks huge, and Fortnite
Yeah.
is big, but it's manageable.
But right now, Fortnite only has one map coming out. PUBG is about to have more maps coming
Yeah.
out. And the thing about PUBG too is technically it's still in early access. It hasn't been officially released. yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I didn't know that
isn't
either.
Isn't that the same for Fortnite? When I launched Fortnite on Xbox,
It's
at
true.
least-
It says closed beta.
Yeah, closed beta.
That's true. So it might not be either
But regardless, I've
seen Fortnite in stores.
because Fortnite at its core, its beginning was a zombie game. Like it's a zombie game where you could like build and construct settlements and stuff like that. So that's what it started as, and then
that's another
seemingly
component.
Randomly, they were like, "Hey, we also have a battle royale mode."
That's another component that people talk about is the building aspect. They like.
See, I don't like this building aspect.
I don't. The only reason
because I keep hitting the button to build.
Okay, that's my point. The only reason I don't like it is I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
and I don't use it that well.
Same.
But everyone that does, like, I've seen people like building forts like really quickly and like they stop all my bullets, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do all that. But if I embraced it and actually tried to get good at it, I'm sure I could learn to enjoy it.
Oh yeah. Now the one thing I will say with as far as me getting to like level 20 and stuff like that is getting to like the 20th person alive. That's probably only because I literally didn't run into anybody else except for the first person that did run into me. Yeah, and they killed me.
Well,
so that happens a lot too.
That's fair because surviving is just as big of element as killing, and hunting.
I mean, I normally get 2. I think the most kills I've gotten was maybe 3, 4. It's
one of the main things you're supposed to do, I think, at least what I do, is like when the circle gets small, you kind of find a place and like I'm going to settle here and just kind of wait and like get in a rocking chair with a shotgun at the door.
Wow, that sounds boring.
You would think so.
You would think, but it's really not.
It's really high alert, like and anxiety inducing.
Yeah,
like you never know when someone's going to come around a corner.
And for one thing too. The nice thing about it is it would be really annoying if you landed, you jumped out of the craft that takes you to the map, the battle bus. Yeah. And then you land and then immediately get killed. And you're like, well, this sucks. And then you had to wait for like the game to finish.
Oh,
the nice thing
you don't have to do that.
You can immediately exit and load into a new game and you are in into a new match. It literally within like a minute. It's so fast.
And it's very PUBG and this they're fun games to watch. So if you do get if you die and you're like 10th left and now there's only 10 people left, you can watch and actually have a pretty good time watching because that circle gets so small that it's so obvious statement, but it forces players to fight pretty quickly. I mean, the games they last seemingly a long time, but they're pretty quick as well.
Yep.
I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun for me right now, but I do have to be like, okay, have me getting sucked in.
I know.
I just wanted to take a quick break from work. And now I'm on my 5th match, and it's an hour later. And oh god,
I used to dream of a game like Fortnite when I was younger. I was like, I want to play a game where, and I don't think I was exactly like Fortnite, but basically like every man for himself, and it's a big map. You never know what's going to happen next. That was like a game I always
That is the nice
play.
thing. It's always literally every time it's different.
I know. It's
every
fun.
time.
Really
it is a lot of fun. So you'll have to try it out.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I'll politely pass.
It's third person at least.
It is.
Actually,
3P.
That's somehow worse. I prefer
really?
first person.
Oh,
I do like first person as well, but this game works. I mean, I agree that third person works.
Because you know what game is third person? That is the worst game of all time. Uncharted.
Oh, Uncharted. I see.
Yeah.
This is totally off topic. I was watching a YouTube video of most controversial game reviews of all time, and Uncharted 4 was on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Due to our episode about it?
For giving Uncharted IGN gave it a 9. And everyone's like, you should have given at least a 9.6, some shit like that.
Really? That was the controversy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to write in with some...
Another one was, sorry, this is the last thing I'll say. IGN gave Prey a 4.6. Did you know that?
Wow, that's brutal.
A 4.6, only because the guy that reviewed it lost all his data at the end of the game and couldn't keep playing it. And he was like, I would have given a great review, but so they revised it into like a 8-something later. What? But the initial review was a 4.6 because he just lost his data. I know. I was like, that's not journalism.
You shouldn't have published that then.
Like you say you have an error or something, but why do you do that?
I know.
I mean, it happens. It does happen. Data errors happen. We've all lost a save file and thought the world was crashing down. I mean,
I do remember that. I do remember when Prey came out that there were some issues with that, but still, that could have been his console screwed up. Like, there's so many other factors that it could have been. In fairness
of the guy that reviewed it, he did it 3 different times. They all failed, and then the developers gave him a uncorruptible file or something to use, and that didn't work either.
Well, if it was a recurring problem, that does change my thinking a little bit. Yeah,
we forgive you slightly.
A one-off is like a very unfortunate circumstance, but if it happens 3 times in a row,
3.2, it hit my foot. It hurt.
I broke my pinky toe. We'll never know.
2.8. Fuck this game. Like, jeez.
Couldn't get the plastic off. One.
Didn't play it. Had to
Didn't play.
Scissors for all this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That'd be really funny. So would you say we kind of had a little bit of a structure planned for this episode to keep us not from just going in 80,000 different directions?
Because we could. No, I mean, that was good.
Yeah,
and honestly.
So
Fortnite's relevant.
So would you say that Fortnite then, because this is shocking news to me that you have played Fortnite recently. So would you consider it to be your surprise hit of the year for you?
100 gazillion%. That is
100 gazillion %?
Shut up, sir. You forget yourself.
Forget yourself.
Is that a number? Yes, that was a game that Spencer.
Oh, okay. Good old Spence.
Good old Spence. Like, hey, you should get PUBG. Yeah, PUBG. PUBG.
I don't think you played that game.
I'm turning into like a 48-year-old. PUBG. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, we can get Fortnite right now. And it's fucking free, by the way.
It's free, which is awesome.
Like the best free game I've ever played.
Oh, that's
and we got it.
Said.
And yeah, loved it. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely, I don't know much about these Battle Royale games. So getting this was like my first introduction into it. And I've just been like obsessed with it. I think it's so fun. It's much more fun. So I've been playing, when I play, very rarely will I play by myself. I'm playing with James and Spencer and my friend Corey.
Which is why they're fun.
I didn't know you had it.
Please don't invite me. And I also cannot play, so don't.
Invite.
Yeah.
We also got our first as a team.
Oh,
which
nice.
Was really, and we were just
really
hiding.
Fun.
And it was like rockets coming in. And we were like, I'm telling you, I'm jumping off. It's like, no, Zach. Just
stay. Survive.
I'd rather jump.
I can't take the pressure. Is it hot in here, Mrs. Puff?
Oh my God, here we go.
Mrs. Puff.
I've lost them now.
It's cramping, Mrs. Puff.
We went into SpongeBob territory. We're done.
So yeah, but Fortnite's a surprise hit for me. But you look online, it gets a lot of attention. People like it. People really like this game.
It seems to be. Yeah, a lot of people are fine with it.
It must just be in spheres of the internet that I never bother to even look at, because I haven't heard even a human person talk about Fortnite.
Well, now you've heard two.
Now I've heard two,
and you know
which
of
is
3
more
other
than
people
before.
at least who play it.
Yep, that's right.
So
that's a
there's a community.
There is a community. There's dozens of us.
So staying on that same topic, then, Mogan, what do you think is your surprise game?
So I'm torn because one of my
or not
games,
necessarily even game, just whatever happened.
Well,
you're just like, this is crazy, and I didn't know it was going to happen. And I'm surprised.
Well, so it's really a tie between two
surprised.
games. Then one of them being Life is Strange. So even though it's not new,
oh man,
when we played it, like we talked about, I mean, I don't want to rehash it to death, but like we talked about, I didn't know what to expect, and we both felt like we got so much more than what we thought
absolutely.
we were going to get.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it took me by storm.
Would you say is before the storm?
I think I would say so, sir.
Which, speaking of which, I need to get back to that one.
Spit my water out.
So it's a tie between Life is Strange, which I finished, and I know for certain is like a surprise out of nowhere, smack you right in the face kind of game.
Yep.
And my current surprise, which is Persona 5.
Oh yeah.
So because I just got it, and I'm not even through the first level. So like it's kind of like dungeon style JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on the first one.
Oh shit.
And I am getting my ass beat hard by the first boss. I literally, because I'm playing on hard mode, which was such a mistake.
Good for you.
It's such a mistake.
Good.
But I'm not backing down. I'm not being a coward.
Yes, don't die a coward's
death. I fought the first boss over the weekend. It was already late at night, but I had managed to get to him finally. And if you can't beat him, you have to like go back in time a week and redo all of what you did.
Oh my God.
To basically be able, it's a choice. So you can either choose to continue to lose to the boss, which I lost 5 times.
Okay.
And by the way, each of these tries probably took 20 to 30 minutes.
Jesus.
Because JRPG boss fights are a commitment. You're going to be there for a while.
Cancel my calls.
Fender? Hold Fender.
Hold my calls, please. I have a boss to
So
fight.
after this many losses, it was finally like 2 a.m. and I was like, I have to do it. I didn't level enough. I didn't get far enough. So I had to do the thing where if you die, it gives you like the death screen and it's like, wow, you suck. And then it'll be like, do you want to restart the battle? Do you want to restart from your last safe room? Or do you want to restart the week? And it will send you back in time because it works.
I kind of like that.
I don't know how much we've talked about the actual mechanics of Persona 5, but essentially it's kind of like a game that takes place on an actual calendar. Like days will pass, and you can only do so many things per day that help you in the dungeons. So it fluctuates back and forth between the real world, which is you're a high school student, you've just transferred to a new school because you assaulted somebody, but there were extenuating circumstances. People don't understand you. And then you gain this magical ability to go to this alternate reality, which is where people's darkest desires live. And they manifest as dungeons.
Okay.
And in order to basically stop them from being evil more or less in the real world, you can stop their alternate reality darkest desires dungeon, and it's like the next best thing. So you basically get to stop somebody from being evil without killing them. So it's this weird balance between trying to be, quote, an average school kid, which is like what the game, it tells you like one of the first game objectives is like, become an honest student. And it's like, okay, how about you don't tell me how to live my life?
How about now?
Yeah.
And so you go through the game and you obviously are in the process of collecting up your party members, which are other people you meet in the real world that become your friends, and progressing through these palaces, aka dungeons. And it's really, really hard. Like, I die to regular enemies, I die to mini bosses, I die to just slightly overpowered enemies, and the final boss of this particular dungeon is just whooping me every which way till Sunday. Literally Sunday, because that's all the day on the calendar that I got stuck at. So I had to go back in time to the previous week, and I basically just have to grind up to a high enough level, and I did a lot of crap wrong. I didn't get enough healing items. I didn't get the right... I'm not an honorable student. I didn't get enough, or I didn't get the right personas, which is a key component of the game. They're kind of like your magical spirit allies. Yeah. And you can collect them by actually beating other enemies and having them join your team, more or less. And they've got magic powers. It's like you've got your HP and your MP, and you've got all these special abilities and stuff. But the way the game built it all together, I think the first 1 to 2 hours that I played of the game, I still wasn't quite sold. And then it really picked up and I was like, oh, okay. The tutorial stages where they're like trying to explain to you how the game even works takes place well into the first dungeon, which I actually really like because it basically explains to you how the game works as you go through the game at a natural, long extension.
Good. And as opposed to like, do this tutorial before you do anything.
Correct. And the reason that they have to build it that way is that the battle system is really complex. There's a lot that you can do that affects battle both in and out of it. And there are layers that I still feel like I don't fully understand yet. Like I've had to go to forums to be like, okay, I've done a whole lot to this one particular guy. Anybody got like ideas on why? And they're like, yeah, you're under-leveled, stupid.
You're bad.
And I'm like, okay, you got me there. I'll go grind.
I'll go back to game.
Gotta grind to do.
I feel like it's going in a really interesting direction overall. And the story, for starters, is a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. They've already dealt with kind of similar topics that Life is Strange did. They've talked about rape. They've talked about suicide. They've talked about like teacher abuse of students. It's like, wow, this is actually heavy stuff that you're basically trying to fix as like these young scrappy students. And it's like, I believe in you. We can do it. Adults blow.
It's rated M, right?
It should be if it's not.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It should be.
Well, so is Life is Strange, I guess. But
is it really?
Yeah.
No.
More for language in Life is Strange.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
Lots of language. Lots of F-bombs.
Lots of F-bombs. Correct. So yeah, it's a tie for me between Persona 5, which I don't know if it will still be as high ranking when I finish it.
Tell us when you finish.
And Life is Strange, which is, I already know, a knockout hit that has no flaws, period, at all. I'm just kidding. Perfect game. 10 out of 10.
Now, so you talk about Life is Strange. I was going through and I was like, what would be my big surprise for this year? And I'd completely that just skipped my mind. But then, Life is Strange. That one is earning a place in my top 10 of all time, which I'm still...
I think it probably is in mine too.
Which I'm still trying to narrow down. I know I tweeted a month ago that I'm like, I'm making my top 10, but I'm still doing it. I'm still working on it.
What's your number one?
Last of Us still.
What's number two? We're going to figure this out right now.
we are going to get through the 10. It's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn.
We know him so well. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption.
No.
Oh, fuck. I thought I had it.
No.
Oh.
Wait, okay, we can do this.
Just go back to episode 1.
Far Cry 4.
No. Far Cry 4 is not
What's
even
the
in there.
episode 1?
That was 2 years ago, Zach.
Well, that's probably that
Live
was
in the
top
future.
3
The
favorite
time is
games.
now.
I know.
Way,
Cruising USA.
No. All right, I'm going to save you guys the pain and torture.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars Dark Forces.
Oh, that's right.
Come on now.
Star
the game that got me
Wars.
into first-person shooters.
Freaking Star Wars. We just tune him out when he talks about that stuff.
Oh my god.
Oh god, I hate
Civilization is up like
5.
4 or 5, something like that. Yeah, or the series as a whole. I can't necessarily pick one; they're too good. And I like the series as a whole. And I honestly I don't play enough in one to really be like, this is the best one. And before the new one comes out, and because of how long these games take.
Long. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Touche.
But so in thinking about that, and then I also was like, well, would Horizon Zero Dawn be that? And I was like, no, because that was a game that I knew, like, I kind of had a good, it was like that with The Last of Us. I knew that game was going to be good when it came out. So when it did turn out to be good, I wasn't surprised that it's good. The only surprise I had there is that Guerrilla Games was able to so effortlessly in air quotes switch from producing a series that was a first person shooter, which they'd done for 3 games and some, and stuff like that, Killzone. They were able to switch from that to this huge linear first person shooter game, switch 180 degrees to an open world RPG based game. Was incredible that they were able to tackle a new IP.
I guess we probably don't have the knowledge to know this. Were there any huge staffing changes within their studio?
I honestly don't know.
Because that could be the reason.
That could be.
They may have gotten a new head of creative direction, and they were like, "Hey, all the games you've made before, poop.
Yeah,
we're going a new direction. Pure."
But also, they'd made 3 Killzone games, so they were probably like, "All right, let's do something different." And they knocked it out of the park with Horizon Zero Dawn. But I think for me, and this is kind of an out there thing, and again, not from this year. But Overcooked.
Oh, really? That's your surprise?
And just in terms of
Overcooked is I'll show you. It's an interesting.
So basically, it's a couch co-op game.
On this.
It's a couch co-op game where the whole thing is you cook stuff and you're in a kitchen. And each person controls a character, and you all have these specific tasks that you have to do. Like one person will be cutting up meats and putting it in a pan to fry. Another person will be cutting up lettuce, and another person will be getting buns.
Oh, it looks adorable.
And it does look adorable, but my God, we played it with Sam, and when my buddy Michael was living with us, we all 3 were playing it. It will get so incredibly tense. It's ridiculous.
Really?
We would be yelling at each other, not necessarily in anger, but it would be like, hey, that meat's about to fry. I fucking know it's about to burn.
You're in a kitchen.
It gives you the real chef's experience.
Yeah.
One of us would be pulling a Gordon Ramsay. It's fucking raw. All this other stuff.
What are you? An idiot sandwich. Idiot sandwich.
And so we went through it, and we bought the special edition that had a Christmas themed DLC expansion to it. There's a couple other things like that, and so we played it. We 100% of the game, which
really,
yeah,
wow.
We played it. Everything, got every star for every level. We got committed to that game. But the thing is, that drives me crazy about it. I have all the trophies for it, but it doesn't have a platinum trophy.
Oh, just because it just doesn't have one by design. And that's unfortunate.
But come on, it's a big deal. Why can't you just
those eggs yesterday?
Why can't you just tack on a trophy?
This omelet is too dense.
Oh, I don't know, but still,
your souffle is fallen.
But for what it was, and just the amount of hours that we did put into this game, which it was totally a thing. We were bored. I had heard about this game. I think Greg Miller had been talking about it, and he'd been like, "Hey guys, Overcooked's great," and I was like, "All right," but it wasn't one that I was going to go just immediately be like, "I gotta play this right now." And then so we were bored one day. We were trying to think of something to do, and it was like, "Let's try Overcooked," and I think legit played it 4 or 5 hours after we bought it. So it's a whole lot of fun. So definitely check that one out if you haven't played it. It's also available on the Switch now.
Yeah, that's right. That was recent as of the end of this year, right? It's
maybe a month or 2 ago, something like that. So it's a ton of fun, and definitely was one that I was not expecting to have as much fun with as I did. I would have to say though, Life is Strange definitely is up there too, and maybe on the same level, but we've talked about how much that one does, and we haven't really hit on Overcooked that much.
It does sound like Overcooked might be a great game to occupy your relatives while you're visiting them for the holidays, to keep them from asking you awkward questions about your life.
Before we went to Thanksgiving, I actually looked to see if it was on sale or something like that on the Switch, so I could put it on there so we could play it with because I have nieces and nephews who are 6 7 years old and younger. So
I'm not sure they're ready for Hell's Kitchen.
They wouldn't, but they'd be like, they could at least tell us what they wanted us to do.
That's true.
You know, and all that other stuff. So exactly, you can't do that.
It's not on the menu.
Soup is on the menu for tonight. But yeah, so Overcooked. It would have to be my surprise of the year.
Nice.
So let's see. What was the other thing I texted about? I don't want to do our games of the year yet. We'll save that for the very end.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I guess, is, what did we play this year?
So much. Like, my list was so long, and actually it was so long that I feel like there are games that I even left off of it.
So are they, question, are these ones that you've just like, are the only, like you started and finished them this year, or are these ones that you like played an hour of?
No, these are ones that I've at least played more than an hour of.
Okay.
So I actually left off all the demos, like nothing that I played a demo of, and nothing that I like played at a friend's house. These are like games that I actually committed to, and those would be Life is Strange, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Tekken 7. Let's not forget about Tekken 7. And actually, my list is really long. Hang on, Persona 5, of course. What else was on my list? And I still feel like, Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Oh, yeah.
And there's still a lot that I feel like I was forgetting. Oh, and then just because it's a recurring factor, Overwatch still.
Oh, yeah, still.
I've still put tons of hours into Overwatch right next to Samus Returns. Metroid Samus Returns.
Nice. And that's
I
on
played the crap
2D,
out of that one.
3DS?
3DS, technically, but you can get it for the 2DS. And there's more. Like, I know I'm forgetting things.
More. Yeah.
I know I've forgotten things off the list, but I like went through to find all of the recent games, and I was like, okay, how many of these did I actually sit down and really play? And of all the games that I played, I don't think I would consider any of them to be duds.
Really?
Thankfully, I did not play an Uncharted game this year, so I'm doing great. It's been a good year,
I've been able to keep my sanity.
I've been able to maintain my rage levels. They've been
staying
nice
at a constant zen. It's great.
And I feel like every game that I actually chose to play had a quality level that like blew my mind. Even Life is Strange, which is like an indie game. And it's like, no, they're still freaking amazing.
That's what's happening right now.
It is what's happening right now.
Games are really good.
Games are really good.
That's what I'm saying. 2017 was a great.
Telling y'all.
Well, I mean, because that like
golden age.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it. We've got from we're getting several games that have been highly rated. Horizon Zero Dawn got a 10s and 9s from a lot of people, and in between.
I give it a 6.
Breath of the Wild got a 10. Mario got a 10.
Undeserved.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
We have talked about that, to be fair. But and so all these different things are big good games are coming out. The Switch came out, and was a smash hit that people weren't necessarily expecting.
The best thing that happened in 2020.
That should have been my surprise.
Switch
honestly,
is the winner
Switch is
of
awesome.
2017. Because so many people, actually, we talked about this when Jerrett and I just recently were guests on Bottle Rocket Gaming Podcast,
which should be out by the time this episode comes out.
So you can go check it out. Yeah, we'll be able to link out to it. But one of the things that we discussed was the Switch, and we kind of circled back around to we actually discussed the Switch before it came out the last time we were on Bottle Rocket Gaming's podcast. Do you remember that?
Yamahama.
I think we talked about it.
We came on there with it in August for the first time.
Did we not?
Yeah. The Switch is already
gotcha.
out.
But they were also mentioning that they had talked about it before it launched, and one of them had they both had a lot of doubts. They were like, we think it's going to be really meh.
Yeah.
And I never held that belief.
I thought it was going to be really meh.
I always knew that it was going to be amazing because I kept the faith and I was right.
The faith in
and
Nintendo.
That's the thing. It wound up blowing the competition out of the water. Even though you could argue that Sony has had a great year. They've had a ton of games that are really good. Microsoft, but the Switch was the comeback that a lot of people didn't think was going to happen. Most of Nintendo's fans were like, it's going to be fine. We're going to have an awesome year. But a lot of people didn't think that was the case. And I am really happy to see that Nintendo has, after many bumps in the road, it certainly was not a smooth process. But after all of those hiccups, they managed to finally get it back on track.
It's such a nice piece of hardware.
And now it's doing amazingly. They're ending the year very strong with the Switch.
So, and I think I brought this up when we were on BRG the other day, but still, the question remains, then they had this great stellar first year. What's year 2 going to look like? They've got to keep it up.
Baby. That's all I care about.
I know we've talked about that before, but yes, let's give us Smash Bros.
They need Smash Bros. And in light of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp coming out for mobile, diehard AC fans are like, put it on the Switch because it's always been a console game.
Yeah.
And if they did Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch console, I think it would be a knockout hit.
Nice.
Animal Crossing New Leaf still sells. It is still a wildly popular game for the 3DS. Please listen to your fan base, Nintendo. We are begging you, give us Smash and give us Animal Crossing on the Switch. We will be fine for the rest of the year. That's all we want.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played. I've still just playing a little bit of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, but it's pretty fun. I haven't played one on before, and so I mean, I would definitely think about getting it. I don't know. I haven't totally decided that that's my kind of game, but I know it has a huge following out there.
I would be surprised if it did wind up being your type of game.
Yeah.
It definitely is my kind of game, and that's why I'm level 17 and you're level 4.
Yeah. Even though I started playing it first.
Even though he started first. But it is the kind of game that people can very easily fall into their stride with.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of the games I talked about on Most Addicting Games way back when we talked about that.
Yep.
And it's actually kind of made a comeback with Pocket Camp a little bit, just a feeling that's
I know. I'd tell you to get off it so we could actually start because you're just like playing away.
I was like, just one more request.
5 more minutes. But yeah, so the Switch by far has been exceeded expectations, especially for me, because I remember hearing about it even after the Nintendo Direct came out, where they were like, "Here's actually what the Switch is. Here's what it looks like, and here's what it's going to do."
Yeah.
I was kind of like, you know. But then
You people.
But then, well.
No, I can understand why. And they,
especially as not being as much of a Nintendo fan as you are. With I mean, obviously, I like the essential Nintendos. Oh, they need a Donkey Kong. That's what the Switch needs.
That would be a great idea.
Switch needs Donkey Kong,
Kirby for the Switch, and DK for the Switch.
Those are all franchises that prove to do well. You could do like a Yoshi game too.
Although, next year they mentioned this back at E3. I strongly doubt it's going to be for 2018, but they have a new Pokemon RPG planned for the Switch.
Yeah.
We know absolutely nothing about it. But if it's a new Pokemon Snap, that would be excellent. Can you imagine using the
Snap.
Switch to go around and use
augmented reality kind of stuff?
They're going to do like a full blown, this is my prediction, RPG, like third person view, 3D world, like Sun and Moon, except like 10 times better.
I think they will too.
I could see them going that route.
Honestly, that's what I hope that they do. I think that's going to be their best route to suck people back in.
My God.
Because Sun and Moon still did amazingly as well, and they just need to continue capitalizing on that momentum.
Well, and two, it's announced, obviously, probably will not be 2018, but they have the new Metroid game coming too.
Oh my God, that's right, Metroid Prime 4. Holy shit, you guys. Every time I remember it, like my blood pressure skyrockets.
Have you seen those?
People like freaking out?
People love that game.
I don't know if you see, obviously you didn't. You couldn't see my face when I watched the E3 and like it started to happen. I was like,
yeah, that's what everyone's reaction.
Like, just what is, that scene in Indiana Jones where the guy's face melts off? It was that.
Oh yeah. Face melting, awesome.
It was exactly like that.
So the games that I played this year, so I'm only going to count ones that I actually finished. And some of these are carryovers from 2016.
That's excessive, sir.
But I mean, actually not really. Most of these I did actually do this year. And then I'll touch on the ones that I'm currently playing right now. But my first game of the year was Portal.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you played Portal.
I forgot. Did you finish that?
That you accidentally finished.
Yeah.
And I was like,
am I done with the tutorial? Like level
I'm ready 19? To get into the game here.
That's the game.
Congratulations.
You
played yourself. Then I had Doom for PS4, which is great.
That was this year.
Yeah.
God of War Ghost of Sparta on the PS Vita.
Hilarious.
Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, Battlefield 1, Overcooked, Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Son of Rome,
Overdrive.
Life is Strange, Pyre, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Destiny 2, the campaign, For Honor, the campaign, and Dead Space.
I actually wondered if Pyre was going to be your surprise of the year, because I know that it did.
It did really well. I really enjoyed the game. The thing is, I had played that. I'd played it before for like 2 years at RTX, the demo that they had there.
I forgot.
I already knew I was bought into that one. So, I mean, Pyre was a great game, and playing it all the way through and seeing how they built on the mechanics and everything was really great. But as far as like a just blindsided, surprise, Overcooked for sure.
Nice, very nice.
But so I think I'm trying to think back. I'm counting Overcooked as a platinum, even though it didn't give me one. But that and Horizon Zero Dawn were the only games I platinumed. And currently, right now, I'm trying to play. I'm playing through Still playing Destiny quite a bit. I was actually playing yesterday and stuff like that. Then multiplayer of Call of Duty World War II. Haven't jumped into the campaign yet. It's a lot of fun. Assassin's Creed Origins, still finishing that up. And Life is Strange Before the Storm. I've started episode 1, but I haven't gotten very far into it yet. And one more. Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds, the DLC.
Right, the DLC. Nice. Very nice.
Which I would like to get to before the end of the year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. My workload has picked up quite a bit.
Remind me, you did not play Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice?
No, but it is on my list of I'm going to play that next year for sure.
I just couldn't remember if you had played it or not.
I'm so excited to play. It just never got around to it.
So when I was actually looking back through the list to find games that I had actually played, I was just ticking off ones that I was like, oh yeah, I meant to play that one and that one and that one. But so many of my gaming hours had to go to other games because it was such a good year in gaming for me.
I know.
And
that's what I mean.
Wow, I still have a lot to catch up on.
Well, like I said, all these games, Horizon Zero Dawn, For Honor, Assassin's Creed Origins, like all these games that for me have been like big hits, all been this year. It's been a great year. But Zachary,
so interesting.
Tell us about all those great games you've been playing over on Xbox Land.
I'm not going to start on Xbox Land. I'm going to start with Breath of the Wild because that was a really good Switchland, which was great. I come back to the Switch and I stand by that. I think it's just such a great playing as much as it's not as much because I didn't give it that much negative press, or I'm not a journalist. Well, I
just some degree you are, sir. This podcast is a professional news source for many.
As much as I did have some negative things to say about Breath of the Wild, I just can't overlook the amount of and I keep coming back to this number, the first 30 hours or 40 hours of that game was just such a great gaming experience, and it was very fulfilling in the inner child in me. And playing the Switch it's such it's just wholesome. There's something wholesome about playing Nintendo games, and Breath of the Wild was no exception. And that was a really good way, and also kind of a disappointing way to kick off because I did start to not love it towards the end. I talked about that in depth in another episode. And then, really, honestly, I didn't have as near as good as year as you guys did. Destiny 2, I think, was the next real. I played a little bit of Life is Strange. I did. Right. I didn't get as far as you guys did. I did like it a lot. I know why you guys love it. That's a really. I was very engaged. I just didn't finish.
If you could find it in you to finish,
push through,
because we cannot stress enough.
Get to the end of episode 1, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I got to finish this." It
gets better with every chapter. Yeah, it never, as far as I can tell, it never. You know how most stories, they eventually reach their peak and then they wind back down. Yeah. Life is Strange never wound down. It went on a straight up shot.
Did you listen? I know it was when you were gone making your movie, but did you listen to our full one that recapped the whole thing?
Good. Because
don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
Technical errors.
No,
everyone else, if you want to listen to it, do. But Zach, don't listen to it.
It was an hour and a half long spoil fest. So don't listen to it. Just trust us that it will blow your mind.
All right. I trust.
I expect a video of you crying after you finish.
As I stream it on Twitch.
Oh my God. What have I done?
I want it to be in night vision too. Make it like the green and black.
Yeah. Oh my God. 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
So Destiny 2. Destiny 2, which, I stopped playing, man.
You already did? You're already off it?
I'm already off of it.
I was going to ask you, because today, as we're recording, what is today? The 5th?
Yeah.
The first expansion came out today.
Okay.
Curse of Osiris.
How was that?
I don't know. I'm going to buy it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy it.
Destiny, holds a strange place in my heart. As much as I give it hate, and I give it more hate than love, there's something about it, and maybe it's just the act of playing it and the mechanics of it that is so addicting.
Yeah.
It's such a well-made game that it's you can't really crap over it, but it's something that I've just noticed. I've gotten older. I just really much more enjoy a world that I can identify with and that I can really get into, and there's some barrier in Destiny. I don't think I'm alone in this, but there's some barrier in Destiny that I'm just I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this.
I get that.
But it's really fun to play and level up, and your guys look cool, and it's just the mechanics
and your guys look cool. That's important. It's important.
Everyone looks
the armor
really
and everything
cool.
in Destiny 2 is really great.
And I know this is just old news, but if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, I'd rather play Halo. There's just so much more competition in Halo, and that's something that always obviously draws me back. And another game that I did play that I actually did like a lot and was Inside, and I talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, we just had a review of that one.
Just a lovely, lovely game. I was a little disappointed in the ending, but in fairness, now that I've it sat with me for longer, its effects might be attributed better in a longer period of time.
So it's like kind of that slow burn effect. The more you think about it, the more you're kind of like, oh man, that really was really good.
I do get it's an immediate disappointment when you're playing the game. For me, it was immediately like, that's really disappointing. But
the ending.
Yeah, and I told you about the ending.
Were talking about
and then looking back on like, and when you're, you know how your memory works, like looking back, it's like the overall, when I think about it, I have really positive thoughts about it. You know, so it did a lot of things well enough, and maybe the ending can kind of feed into that it's a remarkably good game, you know, much like Limbo, and I pretty much compared it to Limbo the whole time I was reviewing it. It's a great game, you know. I really liked Inside. I wouldn't say that's a surprise hit, because I went into it thinking like, this is gonna be good, you know. And then obviously Fortnite, that's the last one, and that game is the surprise hit, and I love that game.
Nice.
Very nice.
Really like it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, like we were touching on before.
I'm just so shocked to hear this.
It's funny. I'm just like, I don't like the graphics. No. I don't like...
Because this is literally the first day you've ever mentioned it to us.
I know.
Like, ever.
Spencer's like, get it. And I'm like, this is what I've always wanted. It's like all of us in a house and we're scared, and like, it's real. It's real. And it's like every man for himself sort of deal. And it takes an incredible amount of teamwork too. You know, it's like you can like give each other weapons. I don't know if you know that, but you can like...
I haven't played as a team. Someone's asked me to play.
Yeah, there's mechanics that allow you to like really like, you take this, I'll take this, you know, and then sniped in the back. You run, you know, every man for himself.
Serpentine.
Zig and zag, zig and zag, zag and zig.
And then you go down, you get revived, and it takes like 10 seconds to revive somebody. So it's like really like, oh my god,
watch out.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting thing. I don't know how much I'll play into Fortnite. Like I said, I mean, it gets very addicting, and I find myself like enjoying it when I do play it, but I can't decide if that battle royale mode is quite for me. But I do enjoy the game, and I understand what you're enjoying about it too. I do want to try it maybe with the team thing.
You should play with us.
Yeah, I need to do that before I make any grand decisions and be like, no more for me. But
my lord has spoken.
This game is done.
But so we'll see how it goes. But I have enjoyed what I've played so far. All right, so let's do, before we jump into our final topic of this topic, we'll do the final part of this topic, if you will. Let's do our moment with Mogan. Get a little bit of news.
Get a little bit of news, because really the whole month of December is pretty like chill as far as new games coming out. Really, the only one I know of that's coming out in the month of December that actually matters to me is the Okami HD remake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, I don't think they're going to put it on Xbox.
Bummer.
Oh, no. It's such a good game. Maybe they will.
Shit,
dude, if they do, you got to get it.
Okami actually looks like one of those masterpieces.
Oh, it is. It's a masterpiece. And
isn't it pretty cheap? Too?
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's just a remake.
Price.
No, it's not going to be a full price game. So, for anybody that doesn't already know, Okami HD remake. It's coming out in December for at the very least PS4, possibly Xbox? Question mark.
I'll look it up while you're reading other news.
Yeah, you look it up. And then we do have a couple of things that will be out now as of this episode's airing. So we have The End Is Nigh for the Switch, December 12th. We have Fallout 4 VR, also for December 12th.
I'm not getting that.
For the Vive, we have. Oh, duh, I already put it on the list. Okami HD, PS4. Oh my god, it's coming out next week. Holy shit. Okay, yes. Okami HD remake, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I forgot I put it on my list. I'm a fool. So I
have to play it.
Right. I beg you to play this game.
This is, well, you know, the thing about Okami that is enticing, not only your review of it, is its art style is not priceless. It's timeless.
It's timeless.
It doesn't. I'm not going to be like, I'm playing an old game.
Like they based it on Sumi-style paintings. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I can't believe it's coming out next week, you guys.
I'm actually 14th or something.
No,
like that?
December 12th.
Oh,
I'm actually really excited now. I didn't know it was coming out that soon. Oh, it's been a good year, you guys. And then you keep those laughs to yourself, sir.
Mickey Mouse
Your
laughs?
Mickey Mouse laughs.
They're funny.
I was being like excited for you. I wasn't like laughing. I want to play the game at some point too.
And then we have Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, also December 12th. And then a little bit further down the line, we have Tiny Metal, PS4, PC, and the Switch. December. I actually wrote December 12th.
Intriguing.
That's false. It's December 21st.
Oh, okay.
I had a little dyslexic moment.
Switch those numbers around. That's what you get. Also today, as of this recording, so the 5th, the Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition is out also. So it's the game and the DLC for the game as well.
Oh, and I can't recall the date for it, but the final chapter, the final episode of Before the Storm is also coming out at the end of this month.
And they announced too. They recently revealed, because they hadn't said it yet or said much about the game. So that final chapter is like a reunion, is like a thing with Max and Chloe. And the original actors are able to come back for it.
Oh,
so Chloe
that's
will be with Ashley Burch, and Max will be the same voice. And all that
that's
stuff.
really fun.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, we should applaud for that. Applaud, Zach.
because Ashley Burch couldn't come back to revise the voice of Chloe because of the.
Do you mean reprise her role?
Thank you.
The actors strike
Because of the voice actor strike. That was everything. So she couldn't do it, and so now she's able to do it again. So I was super excited when I heard that.
That's awesome. I'm actually really happy to hear that.
It's great stuff.
I don't think we talked about it. I'm waiting until they release all of the episodes together.
Oh, okay.
Because we talked about.
You have to buy the deluxe edition to get the extra this episode.
Oh, that's no problem.
Which it's like $16.
Yeah, no, I don't. I have no financial concerns about it.
$16.
I'm rolling in dough over here. I'm fine.
So it's a
part of a lucrative podcast.
That's not an idiot. For real. Yes. We are. But still, check out Patreon.
We could be more lucrative.
But no, so I've been meaning to get into Before the Storm, but that's the kind of thing like I want a day, like a weekend or something, just play through.
Yeah, you just need to take. That's how we basically did Life is Strange. Like you took a long weekend and blasted through it, and it was worth it.
It was worth it. It was a great game. And so far, what I played of Life is Strange Before the Storm has echoed that. I'm not very far, and it's like I'm getting into it, but like even though with a different voice actress, Chloe is still very much Chloe, which I love. Chloe was probably my favorite character from Life is Strange, and so even though the voice is a little different, I'm great that the character at heart still seems the same.
My favorite was Mr. Jefferson. I'm just kidding. He was
he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
And so anyway, we're going to move on past that so we don't get into spoiler territory from Mr. Parks here.
Teacher?
Yeah,
he is a good guy.
Yeah, he is a good guy. Why
would you say that?
Why would you question us?
Why would you say it like that?
He was super cool. He talked to Max a couple of times pretty dickishly. He wasn't a fan.
Yeah, he was condescending about her work.
Well, he's an artist. He's a talented artist.
Of his students, sir.
He needs to inspire hope in them.
Okay, well, so is that the last of the
that was it. That's everything.
Fun news. See, this year keeps getting better.
I know, it is. It's just getting better all the time.
It's about to end. So, man, what is 2018 going to hold?
Just get a PlayStation, Zach.
I know.
God.
That would help my
some cheap
gaming
ones, I'm sure,
drought
right now.
Get on the PlayStation train.
Let's see here. Okay, so the final bit of this topic that we want to hit on is our game of the year. Zach, what is your game of the year?
It's got. I mean, if I have to pick, considering all things considered, it has to be Breath of the Wild.
You know what's interesting is mine is actually the same.
Yeah, it has to be.
And so we can talk about this together. You go first.
Well, not to rehash everything that we've talked about in the review session, but very few times does a game of that caliber come out, and it's like once every 3 years really does a game like that, and it's like up there
especially when it's Nintendo you're talking.
I was about to say for Nintendo it's really more like 5 to 6 years.
That's a valid point.
It takes a long
and it had a
time.
lot of hype with it, which I think didn't exactly help it, but I also think it met up to a lot of the hype as well, and pairing it with the Switch, it's like that combination, it's that whole, you can almost look at the Switch and Zelda at the same thing. That's why everyone got the Switch.
Exactly.
Pretty much
it is.
To play Zelda. And that speaks volumes about not only the franchise, but what they did with that game. I mean, like even the trailers leading up to it were just remarkable. And so it just is in every kind of, not in every way, but in the mechanics and the gameplay, it was very innovative. Obviously, for a Zelda game. I mean, we've even talked about in the review. It's like almost like a departure from. It's like it's like some people don't even consider it in the same canon of like.
Oh, that's horse apples.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm.
No. I don't doubt. No, I don't doubt that some people say that. Like I think that there are going to be people that say, "Oh, it's not even like really a Zelda game," and they're frankly wrong.
Yeah, they are
because it is.
I think you're right.
But I agree that it's a very different type of Legend of Zelda game. Like it absolutely is something new. And if we're being brutally honest, Nintendo needed to make something new because even though there are the hardcore, diehard Legend of Zelda fans like me who would buy and play any game they put out with that label on it, there are people that they need to draw in who have never played before.
And that's what they did successfully with that mechanic of game.
There are plenty of people that this was their very first Legend of Zelda game ever. And hopefully they loved it. And obviously it has been nominated for Game of the Year. I kind of would agree that I'm not sure it actually does deserve it. But in terms of sheer amount of hours committed and the level of obsession that it grabbed me with, I mean, with that first month that I was playing the game, I would sit there. I would sit there and I would be like, man, I can't wait to get out of here and go home. Like, I would literally want to cancel plans, not talk to people. I didn't want people interrupting my time with Breath of the Wild. I had things to do, places to go, people to see. And there were
I'm out there, baby.
I'm out there. And there were so many moments that I had in that game, like just by myself alone out in the literal middle of nowhere in the game, that were really special.
That's the thing. It's those little moments of exploration. You stumble upon like a statue, or you stumble upon a guy that needs help at this fishing village.
Do you remember Cass, the Birdman with the accordion?
Yes, and he would show up every now and then.
So the first time that I encountered him was absolutely it was like the first. I went absolutely the wrong way. Like the game didn't want me to go this direction, but I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it, put it on the board. And I
you know what I'm talking about.
I wound up in an area of the map where I was tragically underleveled. I was absolutely not prepared to be there. It's that really far southeastern portion where it's like a combination of snow and mountains, but then it's also the coast. And you run into him like at that rock puzzle. Like the rock wind temple puzzle. And I was like, I heard him. And then I saw him in the distance and I was like, what the fuck is that?
I know what you mean. I know.
Yeah, I had those moments where I was on a mountainside looking at him and I was like, well, I know I gotta get over there now, but I don't know how. And then you run into him and you're like, wow. What is happening?
And that's and the Breath of the Wild as a whole, the potential of all these different moments were huge. Like I remember and what's the name of the is it Hatento Village?
Don't make me slap you.
What is it?
You were so close.
What is it?
Hateno.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, you only added one extra T. You were almost there.
When you first go to Hateno Village and the little boy with the glasses, it's like, I have something to show you.
Like,
and it's
hey,
like
mister,
these
I
know, and it's just like, you're gonna cry. It's like, this is so beautiful.
It's just like, I'll go wherever you go, kid.
It's like the village is just gorgeous, and he goes and shows you the statue. And
I think in terms of artistic styling, Breath of the Wild is in a lot of ways in a league of its own.
I agree with that.
I'm not sure that there is another game. It may not be the best, but it's on its own. Like it occupies its own special little space.
It's going to go down in the history books as like a very interesting topic of discussion for people.
And I feel like this is the type of game where you play to obsession. You play it to death, perhaps even to the extent that maybe you start to tire yourself out. And then we both agreed that the ending of the game was probably not what we had hoped it would be. But I feel like it's the kind of game where you'll take a long break from it and then come back.
It would be interesting.
And after you have a departure from it, I think you're still going to be able to get a lot of replay value once you've had that time to separate yourself. And I know that for me, that's going to be the case because that's how I've played every Legend of Zelda game ever. You play it to death, you take a long break, you play some other games, and then you come back and you're like, I'm home. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here to save everybody. Exactly. It's kind of like going to your little
let's go chop down some trees.
I think I'm just going to go harvest some, what do they call them? Those little nuts from the trees? Or eggs or something.
I don't know. What are they called?
I'm going to go shoot squirrels.
So how many hours do you think you put into the game?
Over
I can
200.
tell you exactly.
Oh, really?
Over 200.
Was it over 200?
I've gotten to 200
I'm like
plus.
80. It was 80 something.
80 something?
Yeah, it's weak, I guess. I thought it was a lot.
I'm like 5.
No, so actually,
jeez,
I know.
at the 200-hour mark, it actually stops counting. so it's like 200 plus, and I'm like, good thing I'll never know what the plus is.
That is true. At some point, you would look back and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I would just kind of like to briefly say this is absolutely not like a diss on the game, but I want to say that it's neither my surprise nor my game of the year is Mario Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
So we could talk about it a little bit more, but I suppose it was that I expected exactly what I got in that case.
Yeah.
And it's also not in a league that I think, I've heard some people say that they think Mario Odyssey is better than Breath of the Wild. And I think that they are empirically wrong. I think they are just wrong.
Tough games to compare.
Those are two very tough games to compare.
But I would say I agree with what you're saying. But honestly, I would. No, I agree with what you're saying. Like,
what did I say? I said I'm empirically correct.
Well, no. I mean, from Breath of the Wild, what I've played of Breath of the Wild, is very fresh, very new, and all those things. Mario is still, you do different things. You introduce to new things. You have different puzzles, different, a lot of back end game, but it's still at its core Mario. You do, and it feels Mario.
Right.
And I feel like for taking the step and being the better of the two games, I think Breath of the Wild definitely takes that crown.
Yeah. And to kind of bring back to what I think you were getting at, the step from the last Zelda game to Breath of the Wild versus the step from the last Mario game to Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is like this. Mario Odyssey is like this.
Yeah.
They just didn't make as much of a departure, which you really can't say is either good nor bad.
That's a whole conversation because Galaxy is like the top of the pyramid for me.
I agree.
Galaxy,
I agree with you.
It seems like the last Mario game that should ever have been made. It's like, where do
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Where do you take it? It's so wonderful.
It is so wonderful. And
it's just, where do you go?
I actually would agree that I don't think that Odyssey has yet eclipsed Galaxy for me. And I honestly am not sure that it ever will.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of the game to continue to play, so who knows? That opinion could change. But as it stands right now, Odyssey is neither my game of the year, nor did it greatly surprise me.
Yeah.
Whereas Breath of the Wild blew my mind for a month and then did peter out.
It does.
But I still hold that in my own personal pantheon, it still holds game of the year for me.
Cool.
There is a review on YouTube you should check out, and it's like 2.5 hours long. It's like this guy goes in depth for Breath of the Wild, and it's so fascinating. I mean, he hits every aspect.
Do you remember the guy?
Super smart. No, but you could probably find it pretty easily.
I'll just type in 2-hour BOTW review.
He has a whole chapter list at the beginning.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can skip to the, and
that's nice.
And all the comments are like most in-depth review I've ever heard. And apparently he does it like
for 2.5
every now
hours.
and then. Yeah, he does these in-depth reviews for games.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
I will check that out.
Yeah,
that sounds
like he hits
in
a
fact,
lot of.
I'll see you all later. I'm
Just going to
off.
step out now. I've set my end game. Okay, well, I would have to say, and it probably goes without saying, that my game of the year is, without a doubt, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I mean, I've talked about enough about that game. We've beaten that. We've talked about that just like we have with Zelda and all these other ones. Like it for me, like I said earlier, I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I had that inclination going in from trailers, videos that I'd seen, promos and things like that for it. I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And then to actually get into it, it's just that and so much more. It's just so good.
Yeah.
And now it's the game that makes me wish I had a PS4 Pro and 4K TV because I see people post videos of what it looks like on there and I'm like, blows my mind. Like it just looks so good.
Yeah.
And then and it's one of the reasons I'm kicking myself that I haven't got into Frozen Wilds yet, but it's the same reason as with Before the Storm. I want to have just like a day to play through it. I don't want to make it drag out long. I want to be able to experience it and be done. Not because I want to get it over with, but because I want to just be able to take it in as a whole complete package.
Yeah, you want to be able to dedicate that time to it instead of having it be like your lunch break game.
Exactly.
It deserves your full attention.
Exactly. And so I'm waiting for the right time to play it, which now thinking of the second weekend of January, Sam's going out of town. That might be when it happens.
Off on Friday just to play Persona 5. I'm just kidding. I didn't really do it for that reason, but that is what I'm going to do with my day off.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Aloy is, like I've said before, like you can hear my full thoughts on it, like in our review episodes, stuff like that, but just Aloy is such a great character.
Is Aloy your waifu?
Huh?
Are you familiar with that phrase?
No.
We'll have that conversation another time, you guys.
What is that?
No, it's just like you're.
It does sound real nerdy.
No, it's just like the character that you love the most in your heart.
Oh, okay.
What? I still don't. I just
I would just say
any character.
Any character from anything.
I mean, the idea is that it's someone that you're like romantically attracted to. So it would be like, Diva from Overwatch. Like a lot of gamer guys are like, she's my waifu. So I
thought you were saying like wife thing.
Yes. So it's actually like a ridiculously pronounced way of saying wife.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it was throwing me off.
Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
no, it's the geek. Yeah, Wi-Fi.
Well, is it the same for females to males?
Well, a lot of people use it that way. I prefer
husband-fia.
I prefer the term hazubando.
That's close.
Great.
There we go.
I already had it ready.
Sounds Japanese.
But no, so
that's actually where they come from. So
that makes sense. But no, just Aloy is such a great character, and Ashley Burch did such a fantastic job of voicing Aloy, and just like I said earlier too, Guerrilla Games turned around from Killzone and created this, and it's like they could not be more different from each other. And just even going now, people, I see it on Reddit and stuff like that. Like the Frozen Wilds obviously takes place in like the snow-covered mountains and stuff like that. People are going in and being like, they rendered grass under the snow, so when you like roll or dodge or something, or a monster like slides across the ground, you see the grass underneath the snow. Cool. What?
Yeah,
you know,
because they didn't have to do that.
No.
They could have just left it all snow and saved themselves a lot of trouble.
But they didn't. And it creates amazing things. There are so many videos. You should go look it up on the Horizon Zero Dawn subreddit of like people posting GIFs and videos of these massive beasts, which that in and of itself, the design for these massive monsters that they've created and machines are just visually impressing and blow your mind. But these videos of these machines tearing through a forest and like how the trees will so beautifully explode as they run into them.
I love that stuff.
It's just everything about the game I look at, I'm just like blown away. And it's just such, and the story is great. The combat system is great. The crafting is great. The lore of the game is great. And the people that you interact with and the side characters and the tribes and everything that you come across, just all about it is just this incredibly amazing world. And it was one of those, like, it ended, I had platinumed the game, 100% completion, or technically, I guess it was like 99.97, which just, I'm like, what did I miss? But I'm thinking it's because I haven't collected all the different audio logs and stuff like that, which there are a ton.
So, I mean, it's like you're not even a fan.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't even know what's going
Have you
on.
even played the game?
I should just destroy my game because I'm just not good. But it's just, I did all that, spent all that time in it. Man, I can't remember how many hours it is that I had to spend. I think it's like 80 or something like that to completely 100%. It's just one of the, it's like it ended. I'm like, damn it. It's over because I want to just play it again and I wanted to be in it again. And unfortunately then they did it was a month or so after I had actually beat the game. They did come out with like, you can do a new game plus, right. So you can level up to level 60 now, as opposed to 50. You can go, you get to play the game over again, but with all your current, your current level.
Cheating.
That's what all new game pluses do. And so that's what I'll eventually do for The Last of Us when I do that. Which I've decided that I will start my second Last of Us playthrough when they announce the release date for Last of Us Part 2.
That's a good goal.
How symbolic.
Indeed.
A small aside. But anyway, so it's just one that like I've got it reinstalled now to be able to play Frozen Wilds, and I'm kind of like, do I go ahead and just do the whole thing again? Like I have so many other things to play, but I'm also like, but I really want to be in this story again. And, we were actually talking about at BRG with one of their hosts, Kirok. He was talking about how, he's not a big fan of like, he wants it for the story. And like Horizon has like its easy mode is set up to be like, you are here for the story. You're not here to be challenged. You're not here over all this other stuff. You just want to hear the story. And man, if you're looking at Horizon and you're thinking to yourself, I don't know, not my cup of tea, buy it and play it on the story mode.
Because
it is your cup of tea.
It will be.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like the story is so damn good.
You will drink it and you will like it.
Exactly. You have to play this. And right now, I know Amazon, because it's the holiday season, like Amazon was doing sales where it was only $20.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy for a game that just came out.
They shouldn't be advertising it at that low.
I know, because it almost makes it seem like it did bad.
Yeah.
But
they should only be having it like
why is this here?
$10 off, $10 max.
But and so now you've got that. You can buy it for $20. You can buy the complete edition. Which if you're going to think you're going to play it, buy the complete edition. So you can play Frozen Wilds. I'm already without even playing it. I can tell you it's going to be great. It's just I don't know. That's why it sits at my number 2. Can't quite topple The Last of Us, but for everything that Horizon Zero Dawn is and how it's presented and how it's packaged and given to the player and how you can experience the world, good God Almighty, it is great.
Even though I haven't played it, I feel like it might be the one that takes Game of the Year.
Yeah, if I were just to put my money down, I'd put it on Horizon Zero Dawn.
Because what's nominated? It's Breath of the Wild,
Mario
Odyssey, Horizon,
Persona 5.
Did Persona 5 get nominated?
And
it is amazing. It's a
Persona
masterpiece.
5 and PUBG.
PUBG.
Which before we finalize, I know
it's going to be Horizon.
We're going to watch. We're going to watch
maybe Breath of the Wild.
I think it's going to come down. It's going to come down between Horizon and
come on up.
Horizon.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? The people from Fortnite would show up and beat the crap out of the PUBG.
Fortnite is out for best multiplayer game though.
Hey,
that's right.
But still,
PUBG must be.
Oh, they must be
angry
about.
We are okay. So let's see. But I want to wrap this up because we've been going for a little bit, but we are, I think, planning to do a bonus ode on the Game Awards because those are airing. Those are airing in a couple days from this recording, so you'll actually probably hear some of what we're talking about during then in that bonus ode. But I do just want to look at what the nominees were.
I feel like we're forgetting something.
I think there were only 5. So, but the thing is, and we can briefly touch on this because, like I said before, PUBG is only in early access. You know, it's not even officially released yet, but it's in Game of the Year. How do you guys feel about that?
Wait, what's not in
PUBG?
Sorry, say the whole question one more time.
PUBG is still in like early access.
I see
Steam
your meaning now. No
stuff. Should it be eligible for Game of the Year?
I don't think it's eligible.
Agreed.
If it's still technically not in full release mode, it should not be.
Neither is Fortnite though.
No,
So-
But it's also not nominated.
well,
That's what we're saying.
Battle Royale is not.
that's a good point.
Incomplete. Fortnite as the base game is
okay.
done.
Huh,
Incomplete. Okay, so we got the Game of the Year nominees from the Game Awards are Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, PUBG, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't think that Persona 5 is going to take it. I do think it's an outstanding game, but I haven't gotten far enough into it to be able to say, yeah, I think it's going to be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be Horizon.
It's got to be
Based on the
I think it's
lineup,
gotta
I
be
think
Horizon.
it may be Breath of the Wild. I would be very shocked if Mario Odyssey gets it, and I just don't think that PUBG or Persona 5 like really stand a chance.
I mean, I think PUBG had a big impact, but I just don't. Man, if it wins, I will
and
be.
I agree. I don't think it should be nominated. I think that's horse apples.
It's been a huge. I've heard several different opinions on this. Some people are like, yeah, it should be because it's got a huge player base. You know, it's like one of the highest played games on Steam and all this other stuff. But I'm in the camp of no, I don't think it should be either, just because it's not a fully released game yet.
Did you notice the majority of that list are primarily single player games?
I know.
As they should
Suck
be.
it, everybody who says that single player games are dead. I like how that news came out
Yeah.
with the closing of Visceral, and everybody's like, no, single player games are dead. Literally the next week, everybody's like, no, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's all going to be fine.
And we even said that. It's going to be fine.
Exactly. It's going to be fine. They're always going to make games that are so outstanding on their own in the story that you don't need other people for. They're never going to go out of style.
Yeah,
They're
never.
just not. That's a horse apples thought.
But yeah, and we'll go into this more, and you probably, like I said, you probably already heard these thoughts, but like for me, it's a straight down, in every category that it could be nominated for, I voted for Horizon Zero Dawn, with the exception of art direction, because I did go for Cuphead on that one.
Nice.
Because
That's an honorable choice, sir. I commend you.
As much as Horizon Zero Dawn has blown me away, I think Studio MDHR did something truly incredible with Cuphead and what they
did.
attempted to do, and that has to be recognized.
Yeah.
They took a huge risk for an independent studio to
They
make this
did.
game, and that by all means needs to be recognized.
And they knocked it out of the park. They succeeded.
Yeah.
They did everything they should have done.
Which, man, I just keep thinking of all these things. Quick, round the table before we have to go to our song contest. What game do you think you are most looking forward to playing? Not anticipated game, like not released, but it's released. You just didn't get to it yet that you want to play for sure next year.
Oh, so a game that's already out that I want
Already
to
out.
play next year?
We're not talking about like most anticipated games that we're still waiting to come out. Game that is already out. You just missed it this year. You want to play, or year past, and you're going to play it next year.
Oh, crap.
Years past, that counts.
Yeah, year
Witcher
past or
3.
cast. Witcher 3?
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
That's everyone.
Every one of my friends are
Dude,
like, you are
love
missing
Witcher
out
3.
on a masterpiece.
You will love Witcher 3.
That's what everyone says.
Honestly, there might be so many games that I'm not sure I can actually narrow it
Okay.
down.
I think-
I would have to look at the list
Yeah.
again and be able to actually identify which ones I actually want to go back and definitively revisit.
Okay.
So I actually cannot.
You withhold.
Yeah, I time myself out. So I pass my turn.
For me, it's probably a tie between Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and Cuphead for sure.
Ooh, you know what? Mine actually might be Wolfenstein 2.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah,
Just
I have
because
that one.
I've
I'm
never-
excited to play it.
Yes.
I have Wolfenstein 2. I just haven't got around to it. But I think those two, Hellblade, I really wanted to play, but when it came out, Cuphead, I really want to play. So I think those two hold the spot for me. But yeah, Wolfenstein's a close third.
Yeah, interesting. I definitely think it's worth a visit.
Yes. Well, that concludes our extensive year in review wrap up of the last year in gaming. An outstanding year overall. But before we go, let us know what you think and what were your standouts, your favorite game of the year, your surprise of the year, and also what games you played. We like hearing about all that fun stuff. But before we go, we do have our song contest for this week. The hint comes to us from Nick.
Boivin? Is
Not
that
gonna
how
say
we're
it
going to
again.
say it now?
We're going to say it again. But here's his hint.
You can't make me say
It's just Nick's hint is the Dark One came from here, the soul of his kind. One more time. The Dark One came from here. The Dark One came from there, the soul of his kind. One more time. The Dark One came from there, the soul of his kind.
Beautiful.
I don't want to say Dark Souls because I don't think that's right.
Soul, but it has the word soul in it, so
it has the
dark
word
right
soul and it says dark in it, so maybe. I don't know. But the song contest goes live Wednesday, 9 a.m. the day after this episode airs. First person to correctly guess the game from the hint given will be able to send us a song and hint for a future episode. So keep your eyes peeled for Facebook and Twitter posts of when the contest begins.
Drum us out.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Sayonara.
To my left, Zachary Parks.
Peace out.
And don't forget, so next year, another fill-in announcement here. Next episode, is going to be our anticipated stuff for 2018. So be a nice follow-up to this episode. And then don't forget, January 4th is episode 100 of Team Chat Podcast. You will be hearing more information on that soon. For real now, that is all. Stick around for the song.